American citizens, we know that the parties are aligned on the issues that matter against the population. Now, how do we know it's against the population? Because we have public opinion polling. And it may not be precisely right, but over time, we get a pretty clear picture of people's priorities. And the big things that the US government, endorsed by both parties, are doing, which is spying on you more, moving an ever-growing share of gross domestic product to a smaller percentage of the population, invading countries, spending $1.5 trillion a year on a military they can't win a war, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All the things that they're doing, the big things. Population doesn't want those things. The two greatest threats, arguably, in all recorded history, and those would be nuclear war and AI, are looming right in front of us. And no one in our society in a position of authority seems capable of responding at all, or even really acknowledging that this is happening. It's like they're frozen.
All right, that was Tucker Carlson beginning to explain why they're considering starting a third party. He says the unit party never deliver for the needs of the average American.
You see, I knew this kind of stuff would happen. They hire these people and put them in these positions to run for office. They install their own candidates. So people are now getting wise to the fact that the Democratic and Republican Party are a joke, that they're both puppets for the wealthy. And so the wealthy are doing exactly what I've said in many of my other videos. They just make changes to their game. So they'll create a new party. I think I said that in another video. I made a joke about them creating a party for the people and that they would name it that. And people would just go for it. And as you can see in the comments for these videos and these announcements, the people really are just going for it. Like, people really are not that bright, unfortunately. The wealthy just change. All they got to do is change names, make little small changes. You look at Tucker Carlson. I mean, the stuff that Tucker Carlson is talking about now, it sounds all good and all, but Tucker Carlson wasn't talking like this for most of his career. It's been the past few years. All he had to do was spend a few years saying things that he knew people would like, and people are like, wow, he's a different person. No, he's just lying. He's just telling you what you want to hear and saying the things that he know will bring you over to his side. That's all that they're doing. Create a new party that will replace the other ones. That doesn't mean the wealthy don't own this new party. I mean, the guy and making the announcement himself is wealthy. Think. Tucker Carlson comes. Have you ever gone into the supermarket and bought frozen food or bought fucking chicken broth or beef broth, vegetable broth to cook with? Tucker Carlson's family owns, or at least used to, I believe they still do, own those companies. He is wealthy. He's one of the wealthy. You're not getting anything different. They're just changing the name of one of their things because they realize that people now know about it. So they're going to change the names. That's all. It doesn't change the reality that the wealthy people own these parties. It's just, all they have to do is create a new party and make somebody talk, like a Candace Owens or a Tucker Carlson, make them talk properly and give them the right things to say. Why do you think people like Tucker Carlson are coming out, are going after groups that were normally untouchable in the past, and he's not being reprimanded or harmed or affected? Why do you think he's able to spew what used to be considered conspiracy theories and nobody is shutting him down or blocking him? YouTube's not blocking Tucker Carlson when he says the things that he says. But if someone like me says something about Jewish people or says something about 9/11, I'll get blocked. Why do you think that he's not getting blocked? Why do you think that is? That's because they're allowing it. They're pushing this onto you people. Candace Owens comes out and she has all this information. Where could she be getting it from? It's being given to her to turn her into a caricature or to a persona that people want to exist in our political spaces. And then once that's done and they know that enough people are behind these people, then they'll push them into positions. That's how it's always done. And people haven't caught on by now. You all haven't caught on by now. I mean, the fact that America didn't catch on after Ronald Reagan, an actual actor, was picked to play the role of a politician, and people just still didn't catch on. I guess they're never going to catch on. But I make these videos out of frustration now, because it's the people will not catch on. They will not. The AIPAC thing is, people are now, anytime AIPAC is near something, people now reject it because AIPAC had a hand in it. All they got to do is change the name of the organization, and you'll see people will forget. They change the name to an organization, or create several different organizations and give them each different names, but they all work for the same group. People will forget. They won't understand. That's the beauty of the wealthy's plan. They have enough money and power, and people have such a short attention span that all they got to do is make little modifications here and there, and they don't have to change the system drastically. As you can see now, we understand that the wealthy own our politicians. They own our government. They are in control of all of it. Instead of separating yourselves from said government, the people are still like, oh, well, if a new party comes along, well, then we'll just stick with the regular plan and we'll go with that new party. You don't own the party. You're not funding them and financing them. Do you think these quote unquote new politicians that may arise, that they do this for fun or for free? Would you? If not, then why do you think they would? They're doing it for money or power or both. So if a new party comes up, who cares if a new party comes up? Look at Mamdani. All these new things that have popped up that people are like, oh, it's something new happening and there's a change happening. Mamdani hasn't done anything, I can't ever say this word properly, systematic that's going to help middle and poorer people in his state or his city. He's done certain changes here and there that have been nice, but those are concessions the wealthy will give out to the poor people because they know the poor people are becoming angry. So they just pepper you with a little bit of concessions that won't really affect them much, and you won't really get anything great out of it, but it makes it look like their candidate is doing something for you, and it shuts the people up. The squad that Ocasio-Cortez headed, when they came out, everyone was like, wow, this new thing, we're becoming more progressive as a country, and this group is going to help us. They've never done anything. They literally have done nothing. Literally nothing except for photo ops. That's it. They've done nothing. They haven't even done what Mamdani has done, the little bits of concessions that are given out to you. They've given you, pushed, done nothing in their time. And it's been, like 10 years almost at this point that this squad has been out there. All these little groups that come out and that are there for you, they're going to help you, even if you go to the other side, to the right side. Any conservative Republican that comes out talking about he's going to stop certain things, immigration, or he's going to make the country better for white America, they haven't done it. And you look at white America now in the Midwest, on the West Coast. It's in Washington. Mysteriously, houses have been there's been some sort of big fire, but the fire only burnt down the houses. It didn't burn down the trees or the grass. It burned down just the houses. So now all of those people have been displaced, and whatever wealthy person wants or needs that part of land, now they got it. All these data centers that are popping up, literally destroying people's drinking water and destroying their lives. All over they're popping up. And these data centers tend to be popping up in white areas. And it's happening under a conservative, Republican, right-leaning cabinet under their control. So it doesn't matter what side you're on. Anyone that's telling you what you want to hear and they sound like they're speaking the right things, saying the right words, they're lying to you. They're just lying. It's like, dude, people are so dumb. If they hear the right thing, they just go along with it. I don't understand. And you don't do that in any other area of life. If somebody walked up to your door with a bandana on, and with a ski mask, and it's the middle of the night, and they knock on the door and they say, "Hey, I need to come in your house." You're like, "Whoa, you can't come in my house, buddy. It's 2 a.m." And they're like, "Yeah, well, I'm not a bad person. I'm a good person. You have such a nice house, and I've heard such good things. I just need to use the bathroom. You're a good person, and I'm going to give you money for it." Would you then open the door and say, "Oh, come on in"? Of course you wouldn't. So why does it work in these other ways? I started to realize that it works in these other ways because people are just lazy. That's really what it is. People are lazy and they just don't want to upset their lives in any way, even if it's a small way. I at one point I was saying that I wasn't saying that people were lazy. I was just saying that I forget what I was saying at this point. But whatever I was saying in the past, I've realized it's really people are lazy. Oh, that's what I was going to say. I used to say that people had like a superhero complex where they're waiting on one person or a group of people to help to make their lives better. And that the reason we have that is because religion has always been used to lull people into this lifestyle where, oh, you're always waiting on a higher power to help you. So that's just how people they become accustomed to that reality that, oh, I'm just a small person and somebody or something greater has to come along and help me. That's how people have been conditioned, and wealthy men and women in positions of power have used that to lull people to sleep for centuries. This isn't new. So that's old. It's an old thing that people just wait on a higher power. But with all the information and stuff that we have now, it's more than just that. People still have that, and people still are, as you can see, if somebody comes along and says, I'll take care of it for you, they'll be like, oh, great, here, you do it, whatever. But it's not just that, it's people are lazy. Because now we know that the government that we have now is a joke, and that it's owned by the wealthy. And whenever somebody comes along and says, I want to do the things for you, I mean, we've just had it with Trump. I'm going to end these wars, and then immediately goes into war. Just turns around and tells you, I was lying to you, going back into war. We just had it. But whenever somebody comes along and says whatever people think they want to hear, they just go along with it and put them in a position of power. It doesn't matter if you're left or you're right. It's just people in general. So a lot of it is just, people are just lazy. They don't want to upset their life in any way. Again, even if it's a small change to their life, they don't want to do it. So I hearing these things over and over again with these candidates coming out, they come out with a suit and tie on and they just blatantly lie in your face and say stuff that people want to hear. Tucker Carlson is a great example of that. This guy has shown himself to be like a war hawk and a bigot for most of his career, as long as I've seen him on television, on Fox, saying all the stupid, racist, disgusting, demonic stuff that he would always say and push. And then all of a sudden, once he got kicked out of Fox, he became a different person overnight, and people just believed it. No, people lie. They lie. It's the same thing with this whole COVID thing. People are like, well, the doctors and scientists are saying it. Why would they lie? Why wouldn't they lie? They just go along with it. If somebody that looks the part, dresses the right way, and has enough endorsement from the people that society is accustomed to listening to, they just listen. They take whatever they say as gospel, as reality, and just go along with it. And then even when they find out that the person was lying, they not only don't do anything to get back at that person that was lying at them, but the same people who endorse them and push their message, they go back to them for more messages. It's really bad. But this is really about this whole announcement. I don't know if I said it in another video. I think I did. But I already knew. I was like, Carlson or Candace Owens, they're going to run for some kind of office. You can tell at this point, if you're smart, I guess, when people are being prepped to be put into certain positions. That's what happened with that kid that got shot in the neck, Charlie Kirk. You could tell he was being prepped to be put into a position. Just like with Barack Obama, you could see them being prepped. They're preparing them to play a role, and they're conditioning society to view this person in a certain way during this process so that the society will go along with it. And you see that I'm seeing that with Carlson and Candace Owens. You can see them being prepped so that if the opportunity arises, well, they have a candidate that everyone knows and loves, and then they'll push them into that role, especially if they see that the people are taking to them. then the wealthy will push them into that role. And Tucker Carlson is part of the wealthy. Candace Owens, I think she's married to somebody who's got money from something in the past. It's never like just some poor person who just makes a random crappy looking video on their social media account talking about they want to run. It's never that. It's always somebody all over the news. They have hundreds and thousands to millions of followers. These really perfectly produced videos that they make, have access to all this research and information. They say outrageous stuff that you would normally be shadow banned for saying, but they don't get shadow banned or blocked or banned in any way. They could just say literally whatever on their channels and nobody punishes them. That's somebody is behind that, pushing that. That's how you know that the person's fake and they're being prepped to go into something else. You'll never see somebody like me pop up and say, hey, you know what? Things are bad. I'm going to run for office. And then I become such a big deal that everybody around the world knows me. It's always it's always somebody that's attached or tied to some sort of wealth. And that's because the wealthy are the ones controlling all of this. Stop worrying about voting. If you want a democratic government, because this clearly isn't one. It clearly isn't one. You see with all these data centers, people are going around telling their politicians, we as a collective don't want this. And the politicians say, too fucking bad, I'm going to do it anyway. That's not a democracy. Clearly, do these stupid people not understand that? You do not live in a democracy. If you want a democracy, then you have to change the rules yourself. There's more of you than them. A democracy should be, hey, I vote and put you in a position just as a spokesperson alone. That's it. We as a group, when we need something, we will all vote on what direction we want to go in. Whatever direction that vote goes in, we'll pass that decision on to you, and you as the spokesperson just relays it. That's it. You don't make the fucking decision because that's not how a democracy works. The democracy is that the people make the decisions, but we don't live in that. And people just, if this guy gets steamed, you know, it doesn't matter. I don't even know what to say anymore because I already know what's going to happen and where it's going to go if this becomes a party. So I guess it doesn't make sense. Again, these videos are now being made out of frustration. Let me know what you think in the comments, and that's it.